Hello, I'm going to start a new project today. This trailer I salvaged from scrap metal that had been burnt out in a bushfire. All the wheels, tyres were burnt right off it and the bearings were seized. So I replaced the bearings and I got some second-hand tyres for it, and we've been using it for over a year now and it's been really useful. I've got some more plans for it, some ambitious ideas. I want to convert it back to a single axle, and then I want to build a hoist system for it, so we'll make it into a tipping trailer. For that I'll build a complete chassis for it and then reuse this as the tub body. And I've been designing in my head a hoist system which is similar to a scissor jack, and that will be operated by a hand winch and cables and pulleys. They should be able to just turn the winch and the scissor jack will tip the body of the trailer. I've got the trailer dismantled now. I've got all the old suspension taken off it and the front drawbar completely removed that. Just looking at it here, the floor's got a bad bow in it. This is the back of the trailer, probably caused a bit by the heat of the fire and a bit by overloading the rear section. So I want to set up a chain as a truss and use a jack here, and we should be able to straighten this bend out before I progress any. I've welded on these temporary tabs attaching my chain to the frame. That's got it pretty good now. Next up, I'm going to build the link arms for my scissor hoist. I've made my first one up as a template, cut it to length, and I've got small pilot holes to mark my hole centres. So I use these small pilot holes as a template to put pilot holes in all my others, so all the links are exactly the same length. The link arm clamped down in the milling machine. I've got all my scissor arms cut and drilled. The next step is to take the bushings, which are heavy wall nominal bore pipe, and they slide through the arm and they'll get welded in place. And then I've got a solid round bar, just a mild bright bar that's 25 mil so I've had to run the 25mm drill bit through the pipe just to take off the weld seam, and I've got a really good fit. So that'll be the pivot once the bushing is welded in. I've got the first part of the pivot laid out on the table, getting ready to weld. I've set the bushes in place and I've slid the pivot pin all the way through, so that gives me a pretty straight line. Then I've got some lines marked on the table to line that up with. Then I've paralleled all the arms. It's important to get everything as straight and true as possible, because if any of these bushings get welded in crooked, then you'll never get the pivot pin through, and then it just goes from bad to worse after that. The moment of truth has come. It's time to test the scissor. It's got 22 bushings and 4 pivot pins. That works really well. I'm happy with that. I'm glad it doesn't bind up at all. All our bushings are straight, working well with the pins. It's good. Scissor hoist in place. I've ran my rope and pulley system using 3 pulleys. I've got my truss crossing over from one chassis to the other. Got my leaf springs mocked up in place and an axle mocked up. So now I'll lift the hoist. You can see the rope and pulleys working to lift that scissor hoist together. Just pulling it by hand now, but when the project's finished it'll be pulled with a 2-ton hand operated boat winch. It's time for the first test run of lifting it. There it is at full height. It's about 46 degrees of tilt, which should be enough to let anything slide out. down at the bonfire pile, about to empty this big load of garden clippings. There's some big yucca plants in there and some tea tree stumps. So let's see how the trailer works. Up it goes. That was quicker than unloading it by hand. Now I'll jump in the car and pull forwards and we'll be done here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video.